everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card. So today's pick a card, I want to look at your magic and power in the material world. So I'm really focusing here when I think of magic. This is probably in what I would see as the witchy sort of end of the continuum, anything from kitchen magic to nature magic, anything that's in the material world. Of course, people who are on high magic pathway may also think about manifestation and so forth. So whatever aligns for you. But the inspiration for doing this was I just purchased this absolutely beautiful crystal and mineral-based deck. It's called Mineral Magic, and Mineral Magic Oracle deck, and it's by Mary Dunham. Now, her details and the details for the deck are in the description box below. And she's put together this beautiful deck for me, it was a godsend. I've been looking for quite some time for a deck that I could almost have as a learning deck or a study deck, as well as one that I could use immediately. Because I'll be perfectly honest, crystals is not a thing. I'm not that well aware of crystals. I have certain ones sometimes around that I like the energy of, but I don't claim to really know a great deal about it. And this is a very comprehensive deck. It's got like 72 cards, different sort of minerals and crystals, and she's got astrology connections, spiritual connections, their material sort of energy, plus sort of their connections to chakras, all of that kind of thing. So it's very comprehensive. So I find it absolutely fitted what I was looking for, and I was delighted that she had developed it. Now, I am hoping to interview Mary about this because she's obviously extremely knowledgeable about all of this. So hopefully, if the stars align, if you are seeing this on the day that it's published, it may be the day after the interview has published, if it's occurred. But we're trying to work out time zones at the moment. So as at the point that I'm filming this, it's not 100% sure, and if it's happening exactly when. So it could be that I decide if it's going to take a while till we can do it, to publish this, to sort of at least let you see the deck in action well ahead of it. But either way, if we do the interview first, I'll put the interview in the description box below. If we do this first, then when the interview, fingers crossed that it does occur, is published, I'll go and put that in the description box here. So either way, there'll be that kind of connection between the two if it does happen. But even if it doesn't, I get to showcase the deck today so that you see it. I also want to mention too, because as you know, I do like to showcase different decks and so forth. There is another deck that I'm using for the first time in this reading, because I thought it was a natural match for this sort of topic. It's called Weird Sisters, W-Y-R-D, not W-E-I-R-D. It's a kind of a deck that's based on kind of ritual and spell work. That's why I thought it would be particularly interesting to connect it with this around the natural world and so forth. It's by Wiser Books. The creator's name is Casey Zabala. The information about that is in the description box below as well. And then most of the other decks, I think I've sort of showcased before on the channel, so you'll be familiar with them if you're familiar with this channel. That's a lot of introduction, but it's just, as you know, or anybody who's come to this channel with any degree of frequency knows that one of my mission statements is to support creators of decks and creative people. So that's why I sometimes talk a little bit about that sort of thing in an introduction. Let's get to the reading. Let's get to the pile choice. So here we have, I shuffled and asked Spirit for one of three cards that will be at the beginning, and there's actually a fourth card from this deck which will close out the reading, of different sorts of, within the deck, different crystals or minerals, to get a sense of the sort of energy that we're talking about. So that hopefully may help you get drawn in. It could be the visual, it could be that you're familiar with one of these, or more than one of these particular crystals, whatever works for you. And of course, if you always go to pile number two, go to pile number two. There's no problem with that. You can also go to more than one reading if you want. No problem with that either. But hopefully to help. For pile number one, we have turquoise. It says, I am connected. It's also connected astrologically to the moon, in case that's a particular energy that draws you in. For pile number two, we have agate. I am unbreakable. It's connected to the sun and to earth, and it says elixir safe. And then for pile number three, we have chloride quartz. It says I am opening, and that's connected to Neptune. So as I say, and we will go into what else is written there when we get into the reading, but I thought that might be enough for the choice. When you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I've got the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome part one to your reading. So you came to the reading with turquoise, and as I said, is connected to the moon. Interestingly enough, we have here, and see the beautiful back to these cards, it's gorgeous. We have here a fourth card of this deck. We will look at that right at the end. I don't know what it is, but it's a kind of closing energy or an additional energy to know about. But you've got turquoise, which is connected to the moon. You've got selenite, which is connected to the moon. And you've got vanadinite, which is connected to the sun. So this tells me one thing is possible around this. There could be something around your own inner divine masculine and feminine that is part of your magical power and how you balance that. It could also be about clearing energy and understanding it, particularly psychically, for a divine counterpart to come in, or if you've got one in your life, to be able to deal with that more easily. But I also think when I look at Revisa, the Way of the Witch deck here, this has something to do with you truly understanding your psychic ability. And in particular, I would say the manifestation of a healing energy to clear the past, understand the past. And this could be for you. It could be for others as well, like sort of helping with generational karma, that kind of thing. But there's a kind of a energy to draw in and understand, because with third eye blind, and not block this. You may actually at the moment be blocking this ability to some extent, because I feel with effigy, it could be that this carries a lot of either pain or history or whatever. There's a sort of an awareness of the weight of this, but this is about you understanding that you have that ability to do that and to bring and clear it. So if you're thinking about an effigy, you know, if you thought about pain or trauma or issues like that in your past or somebody else's past, if you were being a healer, it's almost as though the effigy could be a place that you transmit that pain or trauma into, and therefore materialize it and clear it. Like that's what it feels like. It feels to me like this has got something to do with you understanding an ability to almost telepath into other people, to understand their pain, also to clear your own, and that this is part of your life path with the sun. Now, let's just look at the different things that it says about it as well. So as I said in the introduction, turquoise here says, I'm connected, moon. Now, I don't know if that's easy to read. It probably isn't, so I'll read it out to you. It says, throat and heart chakras, emotional stimulation to clear old patterns and embody who you are, grounding and clearing past lives, activation in spiritual guides and seeking travel, help someone find the ability to speak their truth and activates the voice. So there's a very clear part of this, and I feel like the effigy here is what you ground it in. I think that there's a magic you have to take, whether it is your own pain, as I say, or whether it's others. It's probably your own pain to start with, and you've learned how to deal with that. But I feel like you can actually do that and transmute the energy. It's just that possibly, as I say, you might be an empath and a true empath. A true empath often that sort of responds to things because there's so much stimuli coming in. So you almost try and shut down your third eye. But this is saying how you can, and whether it's in an effigy or whether there's a hint here that you can do it via work with crystals, there's something about you bringing that in and transmuting it. Selenite, interestingly enough, and it says, I am divine moon. That is a very clearing. I do know that. I don't know a lot about crystals, but I do know selenite is a very clearing energy. What this says is auric body, crown and third eye, and electric field. So you get third eye in particular, third eye blind. There's something here about you opening up your ability there and not being frightened of it. Activated mineral for electronic transmissions, hyperactivity, calming the body and nervous system, moving stress out of the body, desensitizing overactive mind and effects of high frequencies, transmutes unnecessary energies, weighing down emotions. I think I need selenite around me. I have an overactive mind. But there is sort of definitely something there. As I say, there's something to do with your telepathy. Then when we look at vanadinite, and I may not be pronouncing that correctly, I am confident. Once you actually understand what's going on, you move from blocking it and having a confidence and knowing you can do something. Solar plexus, sacral and root chakra. So you pretty much cover all the chakras. Helps encourage forgiveness, provides energy for completing tasks, brain focus, helps restore balance, aids digestion, empowerment to sexuality, raises vibration of the body. So it's almost as though there is a kind of telepathic psychic clearing energy that you can ground within, say, something like an effigy or something like crystals. There's some process you can do because you're an empath. Having done that and cleared that, you actually can help ground energy, create that kind of balance, move forward. So this very much has to do with healing yourself or healing others. That's definitely a large part of this energy. So we will see how it finishes, but let's get a little bit more detail on it right from the start. So we're going to look with tarot, and I'm going to look at a bit what elements and energies combine for you around this. Then we're going to look at what areas of life call for this particular ability. And then we'll look at whether there's anything that needs to be balanced, because crystals and that kind of energy and anything in the material world is very important that we have balance. Though there's a lot of balance here already with sun and moon and so forth. But let's see what we get. So a little bit more about what elements and energies are combining for this. Death reversed. Well, that's interesting. You might be mediums as well. Empress. High Priestess reversed. Wow. Queen of Wands. Wow, this is powerful. You're powerful. Knight of Cups. Okay. So for some, the Knight of Cups is almost turning up here to say, don't forget the sun moon could be for some about divine counterpart, around getting that balance, about bringing that in. So for some of you, it could be a message that you are going to get through sort of telepathy, 5D sort of connection, dream connections, understanding and seeing and allowing to manifest the divine counterpart sort of thing. That's definitely possible with the Knight of Cups. And it might even be something that's your reward as well as doing the healing. That's possible as well. But Death reverse, High Priestess reverse, I think there's some mediumship going on here as well. So I think that there is something around ancestral karma as well. You're probably able to clear that as well. You have that ability. And so, your ancestors might be calling on you, or spirits might be calling on you to help with that clearing, to get that balance in. But as this is saying, you're trying to almost deny that. So you may be open to healing already. You might go, I'm already doing that. But there's a bigger thing. There's some other energy that is bigger that you're blocking a bit. I think you're probably wondering, can you do it? But, when you've got the Empress and the Queen of Wands, this is who you are. This is why we've got the Sun there. You are meant to be able to do this. You are very well versed in it. And I feel like, in a way, what I'm feeling is the High Priestess reversed here is like the maiden. I feel like the Queen of Wands is the mother. Well, actually, probably the Empress is a mother, and then maybe the Queen of Wands is the crone. But I feel like that triptych is important to all of this as well. There's something in that particular way of being that is important. And it's interesting, so we've got the 3 up there, and then we've got a heart. The heart brings it together. I think this is saying most of this is happening in the external world, because we have, Queen of Wands, which is like another person. Knight of Cups is like another person. It doesn't have to be another person, but we're talking about often external energies. And then 3 major arcana. It's very much happening in the material world. It's very much external to you. A lot of what's coming in probably comes in through yourself, so it feels internal, but it has an external focus. And we're talking big ticket stuff. Emotion, passion. If we're talking just basic elements, emotion and passion are very important here. And the rest of this, as I say, is very, very spiritual. So this is first and foremost a spiritual elemental energy that is grounding within your being because of an ability to telepathically and otherwise, that is meant, I think, to find passion, love, people's life paths, clear and heal, and as I say, potentially bring love in for you if that's something that you're looking for. So that's the energy thing we're talking about. It's very high order ability, but it's meant to sort of like reorient people to their passion and to their heart and that kind of thing after clearing energy. But you're blocking some of it at the moment, part 1, because maybe it just feels a bit overwhelming. So what areas of life in particular are calling for you in terms of using this magic now, whether for yourself or for others? Page of Cups reversed. 3 of Swords reversed. You're going to do a lot of this around your healing emotionally and that of other people. Magician reversed. 10 of Swords. Okay. All right, so if you were to be, and I'm going to start with this, if you were to use this to be a spiritual healer in some way, and I think you very much could if that's something that you wanted to do, then you would be usually using this in the realm of healing broken hearts, broken emotional energies, all of that kind of thing, that you would clear a lot of that energy for people, and possibly you do it for yourself first. But I think the reason maybe that you're worried about doing this is that you've seen people use spirituality, these sort of gifts or whatever, in a way that has been very dramatic and not honest. Like there are many very genuine sort of healers and spiritual people, and I think the sort of people who come to this channel are absolutely like that. But there are people who are exploitative and who pretend to be this, or particularly if you've got like mediumship, there are some people probably who theoretically do that, but it's actually quite exploitative because they're not actually doing it, and so And it sort of irritates me because you will see people trying to debunk all things spiritual by saying because something can be counterfeited, then it all must be counterfeit. And that's not true. You know, somebody can do a counterfeit of one of the master's paintings. It doesn't mean that the original one is not true. So it is actually quite a contentious area, but I feel for you, there's sort of something here where you've seen it exploited or something like that, or you might have felt that you did it yourself earlier if you had the ability and you felt it didn't help others or whatever. There's something here where there's a drama about bringing this up. So I think you've got a really strong sort of limit on yourself around this. But if you're being asked to have a look at that, to say that can end, because there is a lot that you can do to heal yourself and others with this. You know, you are more in balance in your thinking. You're more able to do this than you think. Yeah, and if you feel like, oh, I need to go and learn certain things or have a particular structure around it, by all means do that. This is about your power in the material world. Sometimes just having a structure can help you do this sort of work. So what needs to be balanced still if you were to really bring this in? Because we know we've got the sun and moon balanced. But I think we might have an issue here between your intuitive understanding and your mental understanding. I think that your mind may be putting some blocks on your intuition. But let's just see. I shouldn't second guess. Let's see what Tarot has to say. 5 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, Hanged Man reversed. Okay. This has to do with how it connects to other people. In some ways, you could use this to stop, you know, like conflict. You could be a resolver of conflict. But I think you have a conflict. Like, I think many of you here would be saying, I'm fine if I do this for myself. Because, like, you know, I'll either be right or wrong. I'll sort it out. Eventually I'll know. If I'm doing it for other people, I feel like, you know, I could end up in conflict. What if I'm doing the right thing? What if I'm not doing the right thing? So there's a very strong independence here. And Spirit is asking you to think a bit differently about that and understand that you can help others. It's more I think that and the clue I think here is because we've got Pentacles, it is around a structural thing. It's like if you are learning this first through your own ability, then it's sort of like what did and didn't work. Like use that as a structure. What would you have preferred you didn't try, or that you didn't, where do you feel you went too far or something within this, or you know, like jump to conclusions and then you had to iterate. There's something in what you do for yourself that can work, but you need to think differently about it and not think it's going to be a conflict out with others, because I do feel you've been given a gift to help others as well as yourself. Okay. So let's just sort of see, as I said in the introduction, there's a deck called Weird Sisters, and it does have like spells, rituals, and other things like that. So just want to get a couple of cards for that, for how else this could manifest for you, or it might be more of this, depending upon what we get. And then with each of those, we're going to kind of get some other information around that. So this is almost like if you were looking for a structure or a way to use this, this is a couple of kind of options, really. So firstly, we have a sigil for Eros. Okay, bringing in love. There's definitely something here about bringing in love for yourself, if that's something you want to do, or help other people with that. Mend a broken heart, bring in love. It's almost like you could be a spiritual matchmaker in a way. Okay, and what's another one? So sigils sigils are interesting. They are using your expression of what you want and then creating a particular visual representation of that. So this is very much coming from you or teaching other people how to do that. Then in the second one is a spell for balance. Okay, and if you are worried about balance, you're already here with the sun and moon bringing that in. So it's sort of like using that kind of spell and then using it to help yourself and others and to make sure that that's there. Probably particularly important if both of those things are being done, because you're looking at a situation where if you're dealing with people's hearts and love, you want it to be balanced. You want the sun and the moon, but you're already well off, you know, in that, because it might tilt a bit too much to the moon at the moment, but once you claim your life path, you know, that develops from there. So let's see the elemental energy that is primarily activated by these two options for using your magical and witchy ability. Soul contract. Oh, wow. Spirit's been being almost a little bit heavy-handed on this. I do think that for some of you, this is about bringing in your great love. But otherwise, I think it might be that you've done a contract here. You came in with this ability, and it's now time to really use it. Spirit's sort of like going pretty hard here, I think. What about around the spell for balance? Earth and strength. Yeah, this is what helps it manifest and gives it its strength, being balanced. So it's very, very important. I think this is what you're worried about. You're worried because so much comes in because you're psychic. Like, how do you balance that? How do you ground it? That's the important thing. But I think the clue is here. If you do this process for yourself, then you think differently about how you can deal with others. You can avoid all the sort of conflicts that could come from things elementally being a little bit out of balance. But it is meant to be grounded. It is meant, I think it is saying too that things like crystals and material things are really important to this, sort of in terms of ritual or spell work and so forth. Okay, so let's see with the Boho Spirit Oracle, what else can we find out about this? So Eros and balance in terms of some of the spiritual energy around it at the moment for you. Ooh, be curious. So if some of this is to bring in your great love, then it's like, don't just sit at home and don't go out. You know, you've got to connect with people. You've got to be curious. You've got to sort of see. You've got to be open to things. Doesn't mean you have to rush to the first person who appears to be that, because do remember one of the things, and this may be why you're a bit wary, if you are naturally very telepathic and psychic, you may dream about a lot of people coming into your life. You may have telepathic connections with a lot of people. So you do have to have some discernment about, if you're looking for love yourself, where is it at a higher order? What are the signs of that? But having said that, you don't want to shut it all off and say, that's all really scary. I don't know that I want to deal with that. I can help everybody else. You need to be curious about this energy. You need to be open-minded. And in terms of balance, wow, evolve, don't revolve. This is like each element of this. And it's almost, you can almost see it there in that thing. This is about you evolving and becoming more and more. It's like, don't keep going round and round and round in circles around what you're worried about. It's like allowing yourself to grow with it. And like, see, this is like out of the candle that's going round and round and round into, you know, kind of bursting into all the colors once the balance is right. And you can evolve if you go round and round if it's in balance. But I think it is sort of saying the grounding is important here, because, you know, you might also feel dizzy with it all. So it's how do you make it work for you? So there's sort of something there about understanding this is to move you forward on your evolution. It's not something that's meant to trap you or something that's meant to hurt you in any way. And you can help other people evolve as well. So let's also see the spiritual archetype energy that you might manifest once you use these particular options to ground and bring into being your earthly magic. For the Eros, wow, the serpent charmer. Wow, a spiritual awakening is a spiritual awakening. It's allowing yourself to come in. The serpent is wisdom. Serpent charmer is also being able to deal with wisdom in a wise way. The charmer can, because wisdom can overwhelm. And remember, we had this feeling at the beginning, like overwhelming. But this is like having the capacity to be able to charm and work with that energy and that wisdom in a way that's positive. Very passionate. I do think for some of you, this is definitely about bringing in love. And as I say, like, I just almost feel like you could be a spiritual matchmaker. It's like there's that energy as well. What about balancing the sun and moon? What spiritual archetype are you manifesting that way? The moon priestess, cycles of the moon, feminine energy. So this is interesting. A lot of this has to do with the moon. So I think the sun here in balance for you is it's your life path. The life path to go the path of the moon. And very feminine energy, and you don't have to be or identify with being a woman for this. It's just the divine feminine energy within. It's very psychic, very psychic. I think all these moon things too, connection to the Archangel Gabriel, connection in the Kabbalah to Hesod, you know, the foundation that connects the earth to the liminal realm. So you're definitely meant to be that. It's what you're meant to evolve into. But I do think you tilt a bit towards the moon, and that's fine as long as you give the sun its due. Like, this is my life path, but I am a witch or a magician of the moon, whatever way you want to talk about it. Okay, so let's get some stars before we find out what the fourth ingredient is in all of this to bring it all together. So some stars to guide you. Taurus, yeah, this is meant to be grounded and brought into the world. And it's meant to create the world you want. Love, status, money, whatever it might be, you know, and be a bit stubborn. So there's a double message here. Don't be so stubborn that you're not curious, but be stubborn about, you know, what you see. Trust in what you see. Bring it through. Ninth house. learning. Now, I think I did say at the beginning, if there's sort of something like a structure or a belief structure that could help you with this, really, really good. If you are like just the natural, kind of the raw, natural, sort of like psychic creative or whatever, then there may be some learning that can help you work out what to do with this. So if you're feeling a little bit lost, look at what you can learn. This is meant to expand your life. Ninth house is also about expansion, and Taurus is, what you manifest. And mutable, yeah, be a bit flexible. Don't be too stubborn. Taurus can be stubborn. This is about mutability. I think it might also be, since that sort of just naturally fell where the sun moon thing is, you are primarily a person of the moon, but sometimes you do need to bring the sun energy in. So that's important as well. And if this is about love, that could be very important. If you are almost taking the moon's position in the dance of love, you got to let the sun lead sometimes, or the sun, have their say. Whatever that means. I just got it, so I'm just going to say it. Okay, to finish up, we're just going to see what the last of the cards are and what last element we're talking about. Mercury, so about communication, sun, moon and Mercury. Chrysocolla, I am seen, Mercury. So yes, once you have done this, you're seen for what you do. Heart and throat chakras, so communication in the heart. This is helpful for communicating your heart's desire, not withholding emotions and clearing build-up from... This is helpful for communicating your heart's desire, not withholding emotions and clearing build-up from your past. Soft opener and commend feelings that are fragile and socially uncomfortable. So yeah, when you were feeling socially uncomfortable around this clears this up. This helps you. Chrysocolla here helps you communicate what you're seeing and experiencing. So it sort of goes from the moon brings the energy in. The sun-moon balance helps you ground it. And then we have Chrysocolla here that helps you communicate it. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Agate. I am unbreakable, sun, earth, elixir safe. And it's interesting here. This is the 4th card from this deck, which we will finish with. See how beautiful the back is? I was probably going to say this in each of them. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Agate here, I'll read what it is. Actually, I'll read each of them and then I'll talk about what I think. So this says feet and head root chakras, strengthens your physical organs, if you know what I mean, for the act of love. I'm just being careful. I don't really know what YouTube has around saying certain things. Subconsciously releases outdated patterns of belief. Core grounding, purifying, brings clarity of an unclear path. So there's something here about the very physical, passionate, generative side of nature, but about clearing energy, which is very interesting when we see what we've got from the Revisa Way of the Witch deck, which I'll get to. But then we have copper. This is I'm stable, Jupiter, elixir safe. So we've got sun, earth, Jupiter. All chakras, the thyroid, detoxifies blood, helps tendons, arthritis and circulation, helps bruises or weak cellular structure, get in touch with what is serving you and what is not, magnify manifestation, brings calmness to an overactive mind, good for children. So there's sort of something here about stability, stabilizing things across all the chakras and all the energy. But again, it feels very much around clearing and cleansing and detoxifying. And then we have Shiva Lingam, I'm energy, Mars, chakras, the sacral and the root, balance of male and female energies, helps with mother and father relationships, balancing yin and yang, harvested out of the Ganges River, a compact crystalline structure, helps with ancient wisdom, access to divine Shiva Shakti energy. So there is definitely something here that has to do with, the act of love, passion, all of that kind of thing. It doesn't have to always just be based on that, but there's a lot about that. There's like a lot about that kind of magic, that kind of manifestation, those sort of energies. So you have some power in this space. And a lot of it, I think, is being able to clear energy to bring it healthily and stably into balance, because the two Revisa Way of the Witch cards we got are transmute, which is taking energy, transmuting it into something better, and cleansing out anything that does not work. So this is a deeply healing energy that you have, but it's in a very it doesn't have to be in a specific space, because copper could be anything. But I think there is a tilt towards the things around the balance of the divine masculine and feminine, the things around passion and our connection on that level. So this could be you transmuting and cleansing for yourself on that level so that you can bring in really a healthy relationship that feels stable and feels like it can grow, and that you can have passion and ambition, you can have your life path and grounding, and you can have expansion in a way that would work for you. So that could be what we're talking about here, manifesting that by transmuting and cleansing out energy. But it could be something you do for others as well. Might be something you just naturally have an ability to do, because that's kind of what we're talking about in this reading. So let's see, let's get tarot to get a little bit more information because it seems to be a very specific message here. Let's see if we get either more to confirm that or a little bit to nuance it. So the first thing I'm going to ask is about the elements involved in this. So I will be looking at the meaning of the tarot, but I will be looking also at the balance of whether it's very external and spiritual, which is major arcana, whether it's about other people, which is court cards, and or whether we see elements with the suits as well, to get a little bit of a sense about how this is all kind of playing out. Then we're going to have a look at what areas in your life are this energy being called towards, and then we're going to look at what needs to be balanced. So firstly, let's get a little bit more of an idea about what are the elements that you are balancing or using or focusing on, or what's the nature of this ability that is, coming from within and being empowered from within. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands. I'm sorry, it's pretty obvious what this is about. Just be a little bit careful with how I express it with YouTube, but I think it's pretty obvious. Four of Swords reversed. Nine of Pentacles reversed. Knight of Cups reversed. Yeah, it is. It's really obvious. 10 of Swords reversed. Okay. Whether this is just you doing it for yourself or you're doing it for others as well, I suspect it could be a bit of both. This is definitely about finding a partner or finding that kind of energy, reviving, healing a broken heart, getting past sort of issues, coming out into the world in one way or another. It could be around what your preference is or how you want to present yourself. Could be any of those things. But it's very internal. So it starts with you, because like 4 of these cards are of the suits, but it does have connections to others because we have court cards. So this is, it is a spiritual thing, but the way that it's playing out is very personal. That's what it's sort of saying. So the fact that we don't have major arcana, it's not like you necessarily have to take this and create some new, I don't know, spiritual system in the world or anything like that. This is very personal. It's done on a very personal level. It's something that you do for yourself and understand for yourself. And then I think you take it out to others, either in finding love, if that's what you're looking for, or if you're already happy, it's helping others to do that. But this is definitely about that. It is about connection. It is about finding your tribe. It is about passion associated with it. It's about coming out of sort of being a hermit or celibacy or something. It just depends on where you're at. But that's what it's about. This is very, very clear. If this doesn't suit, watch one of the other readings because it's very clear what this is about. So let's ask, what particular areas of your life are calling for this magic at the moment? 6 of Pentacles, the Star, 7 of Cups reversed, 5 of Wands. Okay. I think you're meant to be kind of an example of something to others. It's like I think the work for you that you've done actually either draws your partner to you if that's what you're looking for, or the fact that you've created that and you do create that becomes really a kind of a guiding light for others. This is part of it. It's being generous about that. This is calling you to be generous in some way. And I think that this pathway for you, what you've done hasn't necessarily come easy. Even though I think you have a natural ability to transmute and cleanse energy as it's all there, that meant there was something that had to happen. So the part of the generosity of this is not to let people think, oh, it's just something that happens for some people like you. It's actually sharing it with others and showing them that this journey is actually just a journey of being realistic with yourself and your emotions and rather than projecting it out on others. There's something like that going on. You're meant to be a bit of an icon on this. Now, whether it's that you set up some sort of therapy for people, whether it's just you help your friends, or whether, you go and write something that tells the story or something like that, express it in a different way. But this is about you helping others by example, I think. So then so I don't see much. You could do some sort of therapy where you transmute and cleanse, but at the end you're putting the personal responsibility on others because you've realized you had the personal responsibility as well, but you're sharing that. So what needs to be balanced for you for this power to fully activate? Death, the choice to do it. Empress reversed. And this is very interesting. Page of Cups. So for some of you, finding your own love, doing it yourself. That's part of it. And then sort of like knowing what that means. And for yourself and for others, knowing what it means to be, this is the emotional reality. But this is saying you have to choose to use this in some way. Choose to look for someone if you've been alone, choose to share it or whatever. That's the first thing. But the second thing is you are meant to share the light on the hill and the way you did it. You don't become the mother who just tells people this person is right for you or not right for you. Like you have to be a little bit detached and let other people find their own love and so forth. So it's not about you being, this and this person should be together and that's it. Or no, you shouldn't be with that person. It's actually just providing the tools and the ability to do this to others in some way. Even if they don't have your magical ability of transmutation and cleansing, and you might help with that. It's not then mothering people. It's not about that. It's about helping them stand on their own 2 feet and be realistic. Very interesting. And as I say, you could do this just with friends, or it could be something you did in a career. Each of you, it could be different. Okay, so as I said in the introduction, there's another deck that I'm using for the first time in this set of readings, and it's the Weird Sisters deck. Now, it's got sigils and spiritual energy and spells and that kind of thing. So what I'm looking for is a couple of those sort of areas that this could manifest in for you. And we'll explore each of those in a little bit more detail. So firstly, a spell for cosmic consciousness. Now that's interesting because this is saying this is very personal. But there may be a cosmic consciousness level to this to explore, particularly once you've done it yourself. If you're trying to work out how to teach other people to do it, it might be that's what you need to do. You need to take it out to the realm where people can make their own connection with the divine to do it. Because this looks like there's a prototype in this around the balance of these energies that connects with cosmic consciousness. So there might be something, or it may be saying for you, if you've done it for yourself and you're trying to help others, the next step for you is to connect to the divine and see what it is on a larger scale. For some of you, the reason it's coming out as very personal at the moment might be that's the level at which you've done it, but this could go further. Then we also get Cauldron and Cultivate. Okay, there's something here about, this is actually, they're working together, I think. What this is saying is that this is a very personal thing for you to find balance, find love, whatever it is that you want to do. Then you can help others, but to really help others and to not, as I say, not fall into the trap of becoming everybody's mother, you've got to kind of take it to this next level as well and understand the magic in it a bit better. And once you've done that, cultivate something. Bring the recipe together, that the recipe can help others in some way. Okay, so we're going to explore each of those two in a little bit more detail. So when we're talking about the spell for cosmic consciousness, what elemental energy would help with that? Blocked energy. Okay, knowing where the block is. Now, this could be a block that you have. You might see this as very material, very much about earthly passion, very much about emotional psychology. You might not understand how much your approach is actually also very, very spiritual. But you might also be able to help others in understanding and putting into this where their blocks are so that they can find it for themselves and make their own connection. So there's something here. Are you feeling blocked from this on a cosmic level, or is it that you can help other people remove the blocks? So then, Cauldron and Cultivate. This is a little bit more like, what are you trying? What's the recipe? So let's just see what we get there. Flowing harmony. Okay, how do you get things into harmony emotionally? It's like getting harmony rather than discord emotionally, which makes sense, and flowing, that sort of fluid sort of energy. Because the cauldron is like a soup. It's not like baking a cake, which is very solid. It does have within it that concept of something flowing. So there's something about making sure that the emotion can flow and be able to express itself that's important in the recipe. Okay, so let's also have a look at your spiritual sort of energy as a kind of another piece of advice around it, so to speak, using the Boho Spirit Oracle for each. So around the cosmic consciousness, if this is about breaking apart any blocks to getting to that level, we have rose-coloured glasses. Okay, one of the things that you might find, either for yourself when you work through this or other people when they're dealing with this, is if they're not being emotionally honest, it might be because they want to see every relationship they meet as being the divine counterpart. They want everything to be sunshine and puppies, when real emotional work and real connection is not, you can't have that with rose-colored glasses. It actually diminishes it. So it may be stuff around that and connecting people to the cosmic consciousness to get a higher order perspective that's not so blocked in some way. Then if we look at the energy around it as part of this recipe, along with the flowing emotional energy, be curious. That's interesting. That came up with one of the others. So yeah, being open, staying open. And these two, like, you can't have rose-colored glasses if you're being curious, because it's almost like rose-colored glasses stop curiosity, because it's like you're not looking in further, you're not critical thinking. So there's something here about understanding the power of critical thinking and using, and like seeing that isn't in an emotionally open and accepting way, but nevertheless being curious about what's really going on, as opposed to just wanting to see something on its surface and decide that's all it is. Okay, so let's also then have a look at the kind of spiritual avatar energy that you could be manifesting with each of these. So around the cosmic consciousness, the shaman. Oh, wow. Okay. That makes a lot of sense actually, with the very earthy energy around this, communing with the spirits of nature. Like, this is, you are meant to connect out as well too. It may be saying that you think a lot of this is internal and psychological and just common sense, and there's something much deeper going on. I would suggest that if you are looking to expand your cosmic consciousness around this ability you have, going on shamanic journeying or something like that could be a very good thing. But this is also the healing energy and getting to the core of things. That's what the shaman does, gets to the core of what's actually going on. Okay, so then let's have a look at the recipe. What kind of spiritual avatar or archetype energy do you have, that should be part of the recipe? The shadow weaver, truths that lie hidden in the shadows. Yeah, being up there. These two work very well together. Just like this works very well together. It's like the cosmic consciousness, helps create the recipe. The shamanic journeying helps understand the shadows. So there's definitely stuff around that. This is about emotional honesty within yourself and your capacity to cleanse and clear that. And as I say, be a light on the hill for people. But I think it's also about how you teach others, but also empower them. It's like, it's not about becoming their mother. It's not about kind of like taking control of it all for them. Okay, so let's get some stars to guide this before we see what the final ingredient in a way is to your recipe here. So we have Neptune, your psychic ability. This is more psychic than you maybe think. This is maybe something that you just always thought was just psychology and obvious and so forth, but you're very psychically attuned. So don't underestimate that. Taurus, it is meant to be something that is about the type of life that people have, the good life, all of that kind of thing. And Libra, bringing things into balance. Okay, so this is actually, Libra here is a balance. This is actually exactly what we're talking about here. There is a strong energy here around the passion energy, so fire, and the emotional energy, water. What we also have here is spirit with Neptune, earth with Taurus, and air with Libra. So it is like the recipe that includes everything. And the one thing this might be saying is understand that this is a more psychic, cosmically connected energy than you're thinking. Then you are going to be able to balance it. Then you're going to get the recipe right. It's like the bit of spice that you would add to the recipe to make the soup absolutely delicious is probably understanding the cosmic connection associated with it. Okay, so maybe just to see what else we want to put in the recipe and to close out the reading, let's see what this card is. Kyanite, I am heard, Venus, Neptune. You can't write home about these things when it happens, can you? It's amazing when spirit sort of like makes it consistent. So the heart connecting with Venus to Neptune. This is what this is about. Third eye and throat chakra helps heal wounds from childhood and feel resilient. Supportive to people who feel isolated, to feel part of a community. Activates voice, feeling heard, speaking your truth. Repairs tears in aura, or tears, I think that's probably meant to be, in aura and protection. Good gifts for children. So this is bringing it all together with connecting the heart to the psychic energy. That's the bit that brings it into balance. That's the bit there. You really do understand this stuff very well. You're very much able to do it for yourself. And if you felt blocks or whatever, this is saying you can use this energy on yourself to cleanse, clear out, transmute, and bring in the right energy for you. But then you can help others. So I hope that that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome pile 3 to your reading. So you came to the reading with chlorite quartz, which talks about I am opening with Neptune. You've also got Larimar, I am beauty, and that connects to Neptune as well too. So we've got a very strong Neptunian link here. So a lot of this has to do with either psychic energy, and I think that is a very big part of this, but also understanding truth rather than illusion, because Neptune can be a bit like that as well. It's a trickster in a different way to the way that Mercury is. Mercury tricks by sort of like sleights of hand and wording and being very quick and stealthy or whatever. Neptune can trick by being idealizing when it shouldn't be idealized and so forth. So I think there's a sort of like a combination here about understanding reality and clearing any of that, and then seeing things true, and then being able to connect to your own spirituality. And then we have Sandstone, which says I am supported earth, so grounding that and feeling supported. But I think when we see Transfigure and Toxicity here from the Revisa Way of the Witches deck, I think this almost gives me a ugly duckling finally realizing they're the swan type feeling about it. Like, I feel this is about you starting to understand and materialize and live into a much higher sense of self-esteem and understanding your own beauty and what you bring and what is rare and what is precious, and a lot about your sort of psychic energy. I feel like the people who've come to this may have felt isolated or unwelcome, or like they were strangers in a strange land, or that they didn't fit in or something. It's like, as I say, but there is a great beauty to you, and you actually, through coming to terms with all of this and transfiguring yourself into what, like seeing that beauty and owning it, you clear a lot of toxicity and become a very powerful symbol of it feels again. The other thing I would say, a bit like ugly duckling realizing it's the swan, the butterfly after the caterpillar's been in the cocoon. There's that kind of energy around this. You probably have that capacity to help others with it. You have a magic for clearing unrealistic, negative self-image, all of that sort of stuff, clearing out that toxicity and coming into what one's beauty is and feeling supported and connected to others. That's what this is about. Because if we read the different things here, with chlorite quartz, it says core, full body and auric fields, structure, rebalance, dissolving impurities of mental thinking and blocks of distraction, removing systems of self-doubt. That says here, the distraction of what one might feel one is becoming what one actually is when the toxicity is moved out, coming into one's beauty. I am beauty, Neptune with Larimar. Throat and heart chakra invokes the energy of peace and serenity, brings tranquility to the mental state, good for anxiety and mental imbalances. Rare from the Dominican Republic, makes one feel precious and coveted, lovable, radiates kindness, good for children and lovers. So there is something here about understanding your rare beauty, and that might be the thing. If it wasn't accepted in a family or a social environment, now you're starting to realize what that is. And beauty means many different things. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual, it could be a combination of all of them. Leading then to Sandstone, I am supported, earth, solar, sacral and root chakra. This mineral can help those that feel isolated and lonely or who are emotionally distant. Again, this is sort of feeling of finding your tribe, finding those who respect you, finding where you belong. It urges you to come out of hiding and to be in touch with society, helps understand mirrors of transgressions and repressed anger, stabilizes the nervous system. For some of you, you may feel that you did something that was unacceptable, and this is the clearing energy. You actually have a capacity to clear it, and that therefore would help you, help others, all of that kind of thing. You may have a particular magic to help other people who have felt different, unseen, unsupported, all of that kind of energy. Makes me think, I mentioned this actually to someone that I read for privately, of the My Chemical Romance song, the Black Parade. The first verse in that, which I won't quote because I don't want to get copyright, kind of talks about helping the dispossessed and the broken and so forth. And I feel like there could be something here where if you felt that at one stage, you knew how to transfigure yourself, clear that toxicity and come into a stable sense of your own beauty and truth, or you're in the process of doing that right now and this power and this energy is coming through you, I think you'll help others. I think this has been actually the theme through all of them. There's a kind of a healing energy coming from the journey of the pile. And I think this is a journey of acceptance, self-acceptance and acceptance of others on a very magical, profound level. So let's see a little bit more about it. So firstly, we're going to use tarot. We're going to see what is almost the energy or elemental balance of this? And what I mean by that is I'll have a look at what the cards normally mean, but I'm also going to be saying if there's a lot of major arcana, then there's a lot of external world for this. So it would say that you're at the point where you've probably gone through this journey, you're helping others a lot. If there's mainly the 1 to 10 of the elements, it's still more an internal thing you're dealing with and so forth, and we'll look at what the balance of elements are. And if it's a bit of both, it's probably going to be court cards because it's connected to other people, but it's also internal. So let's just see what we get around that, just to have a bit of an idea how this magical or witchy ability is manifesting for you at the moment. The Magician. Oh, okay, it's powerful. The Hanged Man. Okay, you've gone through this actually. You've realised about yourself. So that's good. Well done, you. 9 of Pentacles. Yeah, you're very independent. You've managed to do that. Star reverse, and you're seeing other people who are feeling what you maybe felt and haven't made that leap, haven't done the change yet. All right, yeah, it's very, very clear. So you have done this, whether it's very recent or whether it was a while ago. You went through something where you came to accept your inner beauty, who you were, where it was different to the social, cultural, or whatever dynamics you were in. And you know that you're beautiful. You know that you radiate sort of spiritual understanding, all of those sort of things with Neptune. It's a realistic thing. So the Neptune is not operating as a trickster here. It's operating as how to come to an understanding of what your ideal form is and own that and stabilize it. So you are meant to do this with other people in some way. As I say, the one element about you is the grounded 9 of Pentacles. You're very clear on who you are. No one is going to be able to say to you, you have to change to be accepted. You don't care. If it's like, I think there's that... So Groucho Marx or something says something about not wanting to go to a party. I think actually he said didn't want to go to a party that would accept him. If you could almost flip that, it's like if somebody isn't going to accept you, that's their loss because you know who you are. So you're very strong on that level and you've grounded that, you've mastered that. It's in the material world, you know it. So, and you've mastered it as well in how you can help others. This is your magic. And you're helping people who are stuck, people who haven't found their inner beauty yet, people who haven't gone through the transformation. It's what this is about. This is a power that you're meant to use for others in one form or another. Now, that could be being a therapist, but it could be, writing a poem that helps people. I mean, who knows? It could be anything. It could just be helping the people closest to you to go through a similar thing. But it's big in the sense that there's a very big external focus now of being able to help other people. And so I think you'd be very strong on inclusion, very strong on diversity. And I'm not getting into all the politics around that because there's been a lot of misrepresentation about what that actually means. So I think on its pure level, you would be within it, like understanding that we are a diverse planet. There are many different ways of being beautiful and wonderful and so forth. So that's really interesting. So let's see what areas of life are particularly calling on you to use this magic at the moment, pile 3. The Sun, your life path. This is who you were born to be. Like, you had to go through this to know it. Just like the butterfly has to go through being in the cocoon to be the butterfly. You had to go through it, but this is your life path. 4 of Pentacles, Queen of Wands reversed, Ace of Cups reversed. Okay. Yeah, this is very much focusing now on other people, people who do not have the sense of self-actualization you have. And when I talk about self-actualization, that's knowing both your strengths and your weaknesses and knowing that in combination that is beautiful. You can have a false self-actualization, which is the sort of grandiosity of a narcissist or something. They seem to think they're wonderful, but there's a deep insecurity in that. Once you can own all of your things, what is sort of like a strength and what is a weakness, what you would be really proud to sort of tell everybody about and what you would probably want to keep more private. Once you own all of that, you know it's okay because everybody has their stuff. That's when you're kind of with the Queen of Wands upright. This is showing where people are stuck on the kind of false energy of it and how that's not, they haven't opened their heart to the truth of who they are. So there's something here for you. You're meant to sort of help others break through that blockage. What needs to be, and it could be in other ways, you could be in an organization and a manager and you're dealing with this sort of stuff and the corrosive energy that the unrealized person can bring and helping them to shift their behaviors and so forth. So what needs to be balanced within you to at best access this magic and this witchy power? Hierophant reversed, Justice reversed, Ace of... Okay, you've got a cause. You've got a cause. You particularly said whatever you've gone through makes you are. That's why I thought of that the Black Parade song. If you haven't heard it, maybe listen to it. Because I think you'll particularly align yourself with the first verse at the very least. But there is sort of something here where I think what this is saying, the best way of using this is that at the moment, for some of you, it may be a bit reactionary. Because we've got the Hierophant, there could be a kind of like, if you were not accepted in a work organisation or a cultural background or whatever, there could be a natural naysayer, natural contrarian, which is fine to start the debate and break it all up, but you can get just as stuck in that as anything else. And if you're kind of only looking at the cause where there's injustice, you're always repairing or reacting. I think the Ace of Swords here is take your idea and take it forward. Like don't wait to see the injustice. Actually talk about what does this mean in terms of what the ideal is. Use the Neptune energy and then the Earth energy there to ground it. What would be the ideal rather than just fighting what is not ideal? I think that there's Spirit thinks you can do more than you're thinking you can do. There's a lot of major arcana here. Very, very interesting. Be a leader rather than a warrior, maybe, is what this is saying. And you can lead in a lot of different ways. So as I said in the introduction, there's another deck that the first time I'm using it in this set of readings, which is the Weird Sisters one, and it has like spells and sigils and sort of spiritual energies and so forth. So I just want to get a couple to sort of see ways in which you could use this power now, and we'll explore each of those ways in a little bit of detail. So the first one we have is Spell for Sacred Guidance. Okay, so I think this might connect to here. I think that Spirit is saying to you, you've managed to do this. You're very strong, and you do have like kind of a righteousness, and it's a genuine righteousness. It's not a wrong righteousness. But if you really want to take this further and create a better paradigm rather than fighting all the old paradigms, there's a kind of a connection, spell energy to get that guidance to bring forward your true potential and what you could do. The alternative way of doing things rather than fighting the traditional way of doing things. And Candle for Clearing. Okay, so this I think is something to help you with this. So it's not two different things. I think this helps this. So, and it also helps to some degree in dealing with all of this, because up until such time as you maybe move into the creation side of things, of creating a better system, if you are fighting, or if you have to, even if you do know what your new system is, you have to fight the old system first, this is probably something that helps you in terms of clearing the energy that is in place, clearing the toxicity that we saw at the beginning, all of that kind of thing. So, but there's also a spell here to get the guidance you need for the new creation. So let's see what elemental energy helps with each of these. I mean, obviously fire there, but there could be something else as well. So for the spell for sacred guidance, predestined. Okay. So Spirit's saying, like, all you have to really do is open your mind and connect, because it's there, because you were meant to do it. Look at this connection, the person up to the divine. Like, you were meant to do it. Once you actually realise that and realise that you were here for a purpose, you're meant to bring something new in. That feels very Arthurian to me. When I see the Ace of Swords, I often think Arthurian, but because of the nature of the deck I'm using here, I hadn't really thought of it. But when I see the predestined, it feels very like that. So there's understanding there's a bigger purpose is a big part of what you need to do here. It's a very spiritual connection. What about the candle for clearing? What other elemental energy is important? Soul contract. Okay. Again, Spirit's doubling down on this. Pretty full on. Like, once you do that, the candle is like light. It's like inspiration. It's probably a channeling connection. That would help. Will clear things, but I think it also helps you channel. But ultimately, once you sort of realize this, you have the aha moment and connect, it all kind of starts to come into being. You don't really need other elements with this. This is why we had the magician here. You're very, very strong with this. Okay, so let's see maybe some other spiritual advice from the Boho Spirit Oracle for each of them. Apart from, just meditate a bit or whatever it is that connects you to the divine. Around the spell for sacred guidance. Not seeing it clearly, yeah, because that's what Spirit's saying. You're not seeing it clearly until you make that connection. I think you're underestimating yourself. That's why you need to do this spell. And in fact, I think what's going to happen is if you do a spell, if you go and find a spell to connect you with the divine, when you do, you're then going to realize I didn't need a spell. the channel was open already. But maybe if you don't think that, if you think you'd need to do that, then do it. If that makes you feel more confident about what comes out of it. But after that, you'll realize it's naturally who you are. What about around using the candle for clearing? It's good to stretch yourself. Okay. Spirit really thinks here that you have so much potential and you're only taking it about halfway there. So it's not just clearing what is wrong around you or others, though there's often the groundwork that you need. It's often necessary. It's so much more. You could do so much more, pile 3. Very interesting. Spirit's being very insistent about this too. So take it as you will. Let's have a look at what sort of spiritual archetype or avatar you could start to manifest as a result of these two things. So once you've done the spell and connected to the divine. And look, for some of you might say, I'm already doing that, but I'm not seeing this, and you're not seeing it clearly. Like that maybe do the spell, that will kind of break through and make the connection clearer. Because it's really interesting. There's something about eyes here. Look at this. You've got one side of the pyramid goes straight up to the eye, just like this energy is going up to the eye. And then here we've got the eye, and the clouds are in front of the eye here, but they're behind the eye there. So this is the Neptunian thing. It's using the Neptunian energy to work for you rather than clouding it. There's something there. So let's see the spiritual archetype around this. The wind whisperer, change, adaptability, and freedom. Yeah, this is about, and the wind will move the clouds. There's something like that. It actually probably suggests that you have a very strong psychic ability around air element stuff. Air and maybe water, because clouds are made of a combination of air and water, aren't they? I mean, there's water in clouds. I am not anyone who was ever very good at science, which is probably pretty obvious. But there's something like that. There's something about moving the energy to see more clearly. And I think, therefore, helping other people see more clearly. And the spiritual energy around the clearance thing that you do have as part of your soul contract, but you could do more with. The mirror oracle, truths and insights from within. So there's a different way of looking at things. All of this is about a different way of looking at things. Right from the beginning, if you felt that you didn't fit in somewhere, you were able to look at it differently and see the beauty that you had. You can do that for others. If you think that a system is calcified or old or unjust in some way, you have a different way of looking at it, and then bringing something new in. Maybe the mirror oracle also here is when you're cleansing the energy for yourself, particularly, as they say, when you're fighting monsters, be careful not to become one, or something along those lines. I don't think you would, but as I say, you may limit yourself, in fact. But if you use that energy to clear and understand yourself so that you make sure you don't take on any of that energy, that could be very, very powerful. And again, it goes to what is the power within you, your understanding about what's going on. You're sort of seeing how the spiritual and the material actually reflect each other when you get it into balance. Okay, so let's have a look at some stars to guide you before we see what the last part of the recipe is, so to speak. Aquarius. Again, sort of like the air element with water. There's something about air and water with you, how you think and the emotions. It's like they're very strong. I mean, the candle helps you cleanse, so that's fire, and we've got grounding for earth. So you are well balanced, but there is definitely something about, and it's bigger. It's a bigger canvas than just reactive. Like Aquarius is future oriented. This is something about the future, creating a new future, not just fighting an old past. And 12th house, very psychic. Some of it done very much, spells, incantations, like very personal inner truths. All of this is important, but I do think it plays out for you on a bigger stage. And trine, it all will be easier than you think because you really do have this connection. And in fact, I almost think it's hinting that you've done the work on yourself, so you're fine. And you certainly could go and, slay the monsters or whatever very, very well. But actually, if you start to move towards something new, it'll actually be easier. It actually brings in greater harmony than it's not a square. It's not saying you always have to battle. This is more about finding the ease and that kind of energy around it. Okay, let's see what the last of the crystals are for this particular magic. Wow, peacock pyrite. I am bountiful, Neptune. Boy, are you psychic. That's why it's very important to have clarity. Very, very psychic. Throat chakra and third eye, resilient motivation, vivid dreaming, purifying blood and detoxifying the body. Good mineral for channeling, psychics and mediums, helps bring magnetizing energy to your aura. The other thing I think about peacock is this is highly alchemical. It's probably why we have the fire, the concept of the burning out and the transformation, as I said, like the butterfly from the caterpillar. But I often think that transformation is very much like within alchemy when all the constituent elements are brought together and burnt out to purify. That's called an nigredo, very similar to the process of the caterpillar decomposing in a way to become the butterfly. And one of the things in alchemy is after that process is the peacock thing, the many colors. It's the sense of like the purified energy that comes out of it. So this is showing there's a very strong alchemical basis to this. Like I would say for you, you are probably primarily an alchemist magician, rather than witch, sort of like nature magic, but you can certainly use it. Your nature magic is your own nature, the nature of the society you're in, and clearing the old, cleansing it, and bringing in something new. So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.